Welcome to another episode of Fraz in the Kitchen, and today we're going to do a red pepper and onion puree roasted. So there they are, our red pepper or onion in the oven. And say goodbye to that for 40 minutes. We're going to make some baby fondant potatoes, which to start with I'm just going to put on some chicken stock just to cook the potatoes in to give them some flavour. So you see I've changed chicken stock. The last one I showed you the last time, we've used it all up. So this is the French one. It's the equivalent of fond blanc de volaille. So yeah, chicken stock. Nice. Let that boil away. So my fondant potatoes, I'm just going to slice the edges off them. As you can see that I've got a small cutter here. So we're just going to trim that through, right the way through. Get the edges off. Making our baby fondants. Perfect little circle. Pop them in the water. Like so. We're not going to waste the rest of the potato because it'll come in for a potato puree, so we're going to put that in the pan as well. Let that cook for 15 minutes. So I've turned off my potatoes a while ago. I've left them in the boiling water just because they aren't quite cooked, so they'll carry on slowly braising. The rest of the potato that I put in here I'm going to use tomorrow for breakfast to make some potato cakes. What I will do is reuse the same boiling water for cooking my few beans that I'm going to cook in a minute. I've reused the same water for the rest of the potatoes, strained it into another dish and then put it back in because I've still got the chicken stock there which I'm going to cook something else in a minute. So those potatoes will go on one side and we'll have those for breakfast tomorrow. As you can hear the oven's beeping, that means that our roasted peppers are done. Those can go in the fridge until tomorrow. I've got a few green beans here. Just top and tail those. They can sit in that chicken stock for now. The red pepper and the onion, as you can see, have had 45 minutes in the oven and now nicely cooked. So I'm going to let those cool a little bit before we attempt to tackle that to make some puree. So peppers have cooled down a little bit. Just going to scrape that. Take the skin off it. Take the middle out of it too. See the flavour in that. It's gorgeous. It should peel fairly easily. You don't have to peel it. Sometimes just peel the burn off it, the burnt bits off it. Normally I do these roast them on a barbecue. I think you get a lot more of that smoky flavour about them. Still very hot. So we've got those yummy roasted pepper, and now we have our roasted onion, which will be hot also. So much flavour in a roasted onion. Likewise, we're going to fetch the skin off that. Also roasted a couple of garlic cloves. To make the puree, I'm just going to throw this lot in the blender with a little bit of soy sauce, a little bit of, tiny bit of balsamic vinegar. That's had 2 or 3 minutes in the blender, just fetching it down, and now what I've done is just melting some butter in a pan. Add a little bit of oil to stop it burning. And I'm going to start cooking our potatoes now. We're going to fry them in butter. That might seem like a lot of butter just to cook 4 small potatoes, but what we'll do is reuse that butter to cook our main course in a minute. Puree is absolutely gorgeous, but that lump of garlic in there just gives it a bit of extra flavour, but the flavour of a roasted onion and the flavour of a roasted pepper, oh, it's just unbelievable. No salt, just that sprinkling of soy that you saw. Fondants are cooking away nicely. They take quite a while to cook these. It's not a quick dish, this one, by any means, and I haven't cooked the potatoes all the way through when I boiled them, so they do need to cook in the butter. Very often when I'm cooking duck, I do this same fondants, maybe bigger ones, but I do them in the duck fat. And finally, we'll turn our attention to our piece of tuna. And this is a large piece there that came from the supermarket. What I'm going to do is just take the wee bit off the end of this tail. I'm going to save that till tomorrow, because that's going to go with the potatoes that I cooked earlier to make some lovely potato cakes for breakfast. As you can see, it's a rather large piece of tuna, this one here, and what we're going to do is just put a bit of salt and pepper on it and let it sit for a minute or two. Black pepper especially. And that can sit and season for a minute or two while we're waiting for those potatoes to finish cooking. I'm also going to add a tiny bit of soy sauce. Just to give it that sticky glaze. I always think tuna and soy sauce are a marriage made in heaven. A bit like myself and Mrs. Fraz, who's about to bring me a glass of wine. Flavour, and here it comes. Glass of white wine. I think it's a white Verrier, so thank you very much to Alain and Dolores at the Verrier estate there for a local wine. Absolutely superb. Beautiful with tuna. So you can see there's a bit of colour coming on these fondant potatoes now, so they should be crispy on the outside but lovely and fluffy in the middle. Finally, our fondant potatoes are cooked through and crisp, and that's taken maybe a good 10 minutes since I put them in there, if not longer. I don't watch a clock, I'm afraid. I'm not one to watch a clock. I cook things till I think they're cooked. So just going to put those on one side and just leave them in the oven just to keep warm, along with our puree that's also in there, and the beans which are now cooked. And let's go to this piece of tuna. I'm going to cook this tuna whole and then cut it through afterwards. So it's going into the butter. It's almost like a burnt butter now, because that butter's been cooking for 15 minutes, cooking those potatoes. So it doesn't want very long. So the clock's on now. That's 15 seconds already. We're only going to give this a minute on either side, because we want it pink in the middle. And tuna's an expensive fish, but a fantastic fish. And if you go to the fish counters at the right time, sometimes they get discount. That's probably about 10, maybe 12 euros worth of fish in there, but that feeds the two of us quite nicely, and it's a special treat because today's a Saturday. So that's a fraction cooked on the one side. We'll take the whole thing, turn it over, do the same on the other side, and then we'll lift it out straight away to rest. So that's had 1¼ minutes. Out she comes. We'll let that rest while I've got some plates warming, so we'll plate up. So we're ready to plate up. We'll start with our base with our puree that I cooked earlier. Now some fancy chefs might pipe this on, I'm afraid. As you've probably gathered, Fraz is the chance, so this has been keeping warm in the oven, so we're just going to run that across the bottom of the plate. This is great, not too powerful, which is why I didn't overdo it with spices or salt. A great red pepper flavour. Complement our tuna. Next we've got these lovely potatoes. These fabulous green beans that have not been cooking, they've just been sitting there blanching away. This week I haven't made a sauce. The sauce is actually the puree that we've got. And let's go with our piece of tuna. Look at that, see how rare that is in the middle? Gorgeous. And there we have it. Tuna with fondant potatoes, roast pepper and onion puree, and some green beans.